Can you all hear me back there? Thank you. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the January 15th Board of Supervisors meeting. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you all for coming. The first thing on the agenda is there any public comment on agenda items? If so, please state your name and address by coming up to the kiosk. Seeing none, I'll move forward. Announcements. I will announce that we will have an executive session to discuss some personnel matters and some real estate after tonight's meeting. Are there any other announcements from anybody? No. Okay. Moving along the consent agenda. I have the December 18th minutes, Board of Supervisors. I have the January 6th Board of Supervisors reorganization minutes, the WIN plan review status, escrow and release vouchers, the emergency services report, the building zoning, building permits report, public works report, park and rec committee report, conservation committee report, and Greg, I'll ask you to read the treasurer's report and payment of bills.
Yes. The West Rock Hill Treasurer's Report, the general fund, $1,265,057.68. Highway aid, $143,794.29. Open space, $1,692,041.75. The park fund, $101,043. The equipment fund, $15,014.28. Highway capital, $144.74. Street light, $38,251.23. The reserve funds, the general fund reserve, $505,986.58. The American Rescue Plan funds, $39,141.52. Open space Manderfield, $41,646.58. Sewage maintenance is $215,301.90. Stormwater fund, $1,514.53. And the escrow funds, $1,013,682.70.
Thank you. Any questions regarding that?
I have none.
Okay,
Yep. And
I'll entertain a motion. Okay.
just in light of everything's happening out in LA, I did want to say thank you to our fire companies, Sellersville, Telford, Trumbullsville, and Paddlersburg.
Amen. Okay, that being said, I would like to entertain a motion for approval on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion's
I'll
been made.
second.
Second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. Moving forward, next on the agenda is confirmed appointments. We do not have any listed here. Moving forward on the committee reports, the Planning Commission report is next. Mr. Durstein, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How's everyone?
Wonderful.
That was quick.
What's that?
That was quick.
What, my report?
Yes.
I didn't get it started yet.
Oh, it's just yesterday that you guys were out here.
Yeah, it was yesterday. We had the meeting. Yeah. So there's my segue. Planning Commission met last night. We had 3 items of business. First was our reorganization for 25. So we had the election of officers. And we voted to keep the same positions as last year. So I am still your chair. Alex Ulmer is still the vice chair, and Tim Ruth is the secretary. Our second item was a lot line adjustment on the Guns family properties on Shoecraft Road. They would like to convey 0.517 acres from a large parcel to a 1.4 acre parcel, which has a residence. The purpose of the adjustment is to transfer a few outbuildings to the lot with the residents. There was a couple of waivers involved. PC agreed to recommend the waivers and ultimately agreed to recommend conditional preliminary final. Do you have any questions on that? I see it's on the agenda, if not Steve's report. So, all right. Last item was a presentation by the Benea Durstein regarding the proposed cold storage warehouse. They came in with some possible solutions to concerns that Planning Commission members had at our last meeting. First one was a concept plan for off-site road widening on Meeting House Road, bringing the road to 24 feet. I think it's currently 19 and 20 feet wide. So that would be from Old State Road to the Wawa entrance. Be primarily on the west side of Meeting House. There's existing barns and some trees presenting some challenges. So we're going to see how it actually plays out. Like I said, it's a concept. It's not on their plan. They are showing widening on Meeting House Road on their front with curbs, no sidewalks. They asked for waivers for sidewalks. We were originally looking to have pedestrian connectivity from their site to the Wawa, and due to the challenge with the width of Meeting House, it doesn't look like sidewalks are gonna go in. So they don't want sidewalks in front of their building going just to the end of their property, up to the intersection at Old State. So we were on board with that. They also showed some view sheds from neighboring properties to give us an idea how their landscaping with existing and plantings was going to screen off some of the site for the neighbors. And on drawings, it looks all right. Another exhibit showed a revised landscape plan showing some new berms as well as a new planting mix, which increases the number of evergreens, primarily Norway spruce, to provide better screening. They also did a revised driveway plan. We had concerns about exit and entrance, that trucks entering and exiting at the same time, as well as trucks staging on Meeting House Road waiting to get in. So they did some studying and came up with a plan to widen the driveway and taper the exit farther, so to avoid pinch points. And again, it looks good on paper. They had a fair amount of waiver requests attached to these proposed design ideas. They're seeking relief from improvements on their Old State Road frontage. And discussion is going to occur between township and them about the improvements being conveyed to the Meeting House Road widening. So that will happen between you guys. There's a handful of requests for waivers regarding planting types, afforestation, shade trees, et cetera. They are really making a concentrated effort to screen this for the neighbors. So the best screening that they came up with was using all primary Norway spruce. Mm-hmm. Our ordinance calls for street trees. We're willing to waive that to use the evergreens. Again, just to get better screening. Shade trees, they're going to have shade trees in the customer parking areas. They won't have any in the truck areas. They are proposing to do a white roof, though, to help reduce the heat island. Is it heat island effect? Yeah. So we're on board with all of these waivers. Another notable was for the driveway width. It's Saldo is restricted to a certain width, which I don't remember what it is. Like they need to exceed that to get the best truck in and out, exit and entrance and pinch points. So we're on board with recommending granting the waivers, and at the end of it all, we are recommending conditional preliminary approval.
Okay. As you know, my major concern is the truck traffic.
Nope.
Not skimping on the width of the road. I do commend that they're going to try and make the driveway wider.
Yep.
That should be done. Every accommodation. I do know that there's buildings down there that can't be moved, that restricts for how much they could get on that
Right.
one side. But we have to try to get, and the township will have to try to get as much as we can width-wise
I agree.
to accommodate this, because, I anticipate, trucks coming from the terminal that are going to be bringing stuff in from overseas or whatever, and they're going to be big 53-footer probably. Reefer trucks.
Yeah.
So I know what it takes to turn one of them, the amount of room you need to have, and I don't want to have an issue with logistics right there at the intersection.
Yeah, and we share your concern.
Yes, you do, and I do commend you for working hard towards
Yeah.
making sure that they understand that.
Yeah, and they were very amenable to working it out.
Yeah.
I mean, they want this project to go, and they're doing what they have to do.
Sure. Okay, well,
And that's my report for the night.
I don't have any other questions other than that brief comment.
I have a question to the manager. Has demolition started there?
Have we issued the permit? Yeah, the permit was just issued. I don't know if it started yet or not, but the permit was just issued.
No questions for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Yes.
question.
Sure.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the planning commission report as presented.
Also move.
Okay, motion's been made. I'll second it. All those signify by saying aye. Ayes have it. Moving forward, next on the agenda is the commission reports. First on the agenda is the Penn Ridge Regional Police report. Chief Dickinson, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you? Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I have your December 2024 activity report for the Penn Ridge Regional Police Department. Police Department responded or handled 882 calls in the month of December. 347 of those calls were in East Rock Hill Township. 523 were here in West Rock Hill Township, and 12 of those calls were assisting our neighboring agencies. The police department handled 33 traffic crashes in the month of December. 15 were reportable, 18 were non-reportable, with 11 occurring in East Rock Hill Township and 22 occurring here in West Rock Hill Township. Criminal activity for the police department in the month of December, we had 6 crimes against property, 3 crimes against persons, 2 crimes against society, and 11 Group B offenses, which are your more minor offenses. East Rock Hill Township crimes that were reported with an ordinance violation, harassment, criminal mischief, a DUI, and a theft report. Here in West Rock Hill Township, we had 2 hit-and-run crashes, simple assault, disorderly conduct, 2 drug calls, 1 DUI, 2 reports of fraud, a pursuit, 3 reports of sex offenses, 3 thefts, and 1 trespassing complaint. The charges that we filed in the month of December, we had 1 charge of fleeing and eluding police, a charge of driving under suspension while DUI, while intoxicated, 1 report of accidents involving injury while not properly licensed, 6 charges of DUI, 5 charges of drug possession, 1 charge of theft, 1 charge of receiving stolen property, and 1 charge of disorderly conduct. Our other police activities for the month of December, we conducted 245 traffic enforcement details, issued 31 traffic citations, 97 traffic warnings, conducted 20 school checks, 148 part checks, 69 business checks, and the officers participated or attended 84 hours of training. With it being the first meeting of 2025, I just wanted to go through some of the police department's accomplishments from 2024 for the board and for the public. The police department attained NIBRS certification. The NIBRS certification allows us to report crime data to the FBI in a much more detailed fashion than was previously done under the old UCR program. We completed the installation of 27 stationary license plate readers placed at the 7 major intersections within East and West Rock Hill Township. A project was completed with PCCD grant funding from 2023. The department purchased and deployed new Glock 9mm handguns with red dot sight pictures equipment. We saw a consistent improvement in the officer proficiency with their firearms. We also installed a new department entrance window to improve the civilian safety and also allow for improved interaction between officers and citizens who come into the police department. Upgraded and replaced the department's surveillance camera system. These improvements allowed us for audio recording and of police interviews, and also for audio recording of prisoners while they're in custody. We introduced the new cover shift to allow for more officers on the road, specifically when we have a higher call volume to provide better services to the community. We placed an officer on the Central Bucks Special Response Team, the SWAT team for our part of the county. We added our 13th officer to the police department, Officer Zachary Corper, who came to us from Cheltenham Township. He brought our staffing up to 13, which is probably the highest the department's been staffed in quite a few years. So I thank everybody for that. And the department also received 2 department DCED grants in the amount of a little over $180,000 for us to place the patrol car in the fleet, purchase other speed timing devices. And we also, in the second grant, which is also part of that $180,000, received funding to add an interview room and finish upgrades to the department's surveillance camera system. Our 2025 goals include, we're going to be beginning the process of attaining Pennsylvania law enforcement accreditation, which we hope that will be completed either the end of 2025 or early in 2026. And we're going to complete the installation of our license plate reader cameras at the 2 remaining intersections and with the additional funding we have under the PCCD grant. And we're hoping to complete our successful transition to a new records management system. So we got quite a few big projects in 2025 we're going to be taking on as a police department, but we'll muddle through it. And that would be your report for this month.
Thank you.
Could I just say, I saw that in the packet, the accomplishments and the goals for 25, and I'm really pleased that you brought it up in this meeting tonight. I think you had a good year, and I think it's a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I share the same.
Yeah, most of it goes to the guys and the work they did. So
All right. That being said, can I entertain?
I'll make a motion
Yes.
to approve.
Approve the chief's report?
Yes.
Will
Second.
Second it. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thanks, chief.
thank you.
Okay, moving forward, next on the agenda is the Joint Rec Authority report. Now, I see Hal Shermer's name is on here. However, I was been made aware that we're some changing of the chairperson and the assistant. And the chairperson who would normally give the report is Angela here.
No.
Okay.
So,
You want to
well,
read the report or you want Hal to read it? I mean, Craig to read it.
no, I'll read the report.
Okay.
Hal Shermer, I'm currently just for background, the West Rock Hill Sellersville Joint Recreation Authority is opening up another position for a member for West Rock Hill who wants to volunteer and help out with the Joint Rec Authority. I'm continuing on with the Joint Rec Authority, but I'm stepping back from being a voting member to let another person from the neighborhood come in and become more involved, because there are times when it's more important to have a good sort of backfield and list of people who are all helping rather than have it all be top down and just have the appointed supervisors or the appointed people being the ones in charge. Anyway, we had our the Joint Rec Authority met on Wednesday, January 8th. So we have reorganized, and right now, Angela Goodwin from West Rock Hill is our chairwoman, and Shelley Miklos is vice chair. Tony Buck, Lynn Saylor continue as secretary and treasurer. We had a fairly quick reorganization portion to the meeting. Fundraising, we're continuing to do fundraising. We have been holding it about at several $1,000s, 5 digits, 12,000 or so, which is way more than we've ever had for fundraising anytime previously. We are still looking at volunteer recruitment. We do have a request out because the Joint Rec Authority memberships to Holiday House Pool are discounted up until the end of March. So we are going to be asking West Rock Hill to put that up on the board at the front of James Park, as well as we've been sending out emails and trying to get out and reaching out to everybody because we want more membership. We want more lifeguards, and We also are looking for anybody else who would be interested in helping out and volunteering, because it's not just the board. We also have several different subcommittees for fundraising, for events, and for everything else. We do need somebody to work on the snack stand. We had private vendors for the snack stand for the last 2 years. As of right now, both of those are focusing their time on expanding their own business rather than branching out to Holiday House. So if we can find anybody, or if you know anybody who has a Safe Serve certificate and might be interested in a summer job, please send them our way. Or if there's anybody who knows somebody in the food business who would have interest in having a side job. As of right now, though, the pool has been winterized, the pool has been taken care of. Water is down. All of the pipes and everything else have been drained. As of right now, we're looking at a budget. The budget is going to be tight this year. We are projecting somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 positive. That depends on fundraising. And we are looking to have a discussion between West Rock Hill Township Supervisors and the membership of the Joint Rec Authority to try to nail down a little bit more detail on how we do fundraising and how we get funding. As of last year, there is a request from the Joint Rec Authority to West Rock Hill for $17,000, which is the amount of unexpected capital improvements, which are still hanging out there. Currently, West Rock Hill has allocated 13,000 towards the Joint Rec Authority budget, Holiday House budget, out of the requested 13,000. Realistically, for the next couple of years, it's probably going to be 15, 20, 25,000 while we have some major capital improvements coming up. But that's something we're going to have to deal with and work through. But we are on track. Currently, West Rock Hill contributes about $13,000, has budgeted $13,000 towards Holiday House pool. Of that, we are able to spinning straw into gold. We end up with about $80,000 in payroll to all of the lifeguards as part of sort of job training and on the job training. We have another 30,000, which goes out to some of our other contractors. So we're generating about $110,000, which goes back into the economy as a bootstrap in order to help the economy. We have a budget total of about $225,000 to up to $250,000. So the Joint Rec Authority is able to take about $13,000 and then bootstrap that into an annual budget of about $250,000. Right now, we are looking at several thousand more coming in from Sellersville, so we're hoping that we can get both sides to agree on
Where are you reading that from, Mr. Shermer? I don't see that in my report.
up here. That's from the budget. That's from the last 6, 7, 8, 9 meetings.
Okay, thank you.
But that's what we've been dealing with for a while. Basically, 1970, the pool got started. West Rock Hill and Sellersville both agreed to commit $15,000 per year towards the pool for 30 years to pay down the mortgage. After the mortgage was paid off, West Rock Hill and Sellersville both went, hooray, the pool is paid off. And like everybody else who has a house that's more than 50 years old, it's hooray, the house is paid off, but it doesn't fix itself, and you always have capital costs coming up.
Can you finish up with the rest of the report so
Yep.
that we can move on? Thank
Yep.
you.
Meanwhile, the Holiday House has decided that they're going in conjunction with some other financing options. Holiday House did vote to go through with an appraisal of the property. Doesn't mean we're selling it, just means that we're looking at other options for financing. That's all.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I do want to add something to the report. It's very important that it's clear to the public. On the day after the Joint Rec Authority meeting, we received a resignation letter from Hal Shermer to the Joint Rec Authority. So that, therefore, Greg listed and put a replacement on the website for a new position, a position open. So I need to make sure everybody's aware of that Hal Shermer did send in an email for resignation, and I believe that we have to act on that resignation. We have to accept that. Is that correct? Mr. Okay, so I would like to ask for a motion to accept Mr. Shermer's resignation letter.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I will second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Shermer.
And
Appreciate it.
I will just mention, I am continuing as the township
You're a
liaison.
liaison, yes, but you are not a voting acting member
Yep.
in the Joint Rec Authority Committee.
Nope.
So-
I've stepped,
so we
I've,
will be looking for someone new.
I've stepped back to see if we can find somebody else who can do the job better than I can.
That being said, we would expect if the chairperson, Angela, cannot give the report, then we will
I
have
will
Greg.
continue.
We will have Greg give the report. Okay? Thank you. I will entertain a motion for approval of the Joint Rec Authority
So moved.
presentation. I will second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving forward, next on the agenda is the tax collector's report. Suzanne Clark.
Love being loved. Okay, for the month of December, I haven't collected any money for January because we haven't got the tax bills out. But for the ending of the year, the total taxes collected in December was $3,253.19, and 24 interims, $4.86, and streetlight tax, $71.22. All my liens were filed January 7th down at the Bucks County Courthouse for delinquent collection. My total liens was $5,822.67. And our liens were down from the previous year by $1,613.88. So it was a shorter lien list this year. And
That's
that is my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody up here have any questions for Suzanne?
Yep.
I have none. I'll make a motion to approve the tax report.
Okay.
as
Motion's been
presented.
made.
I will second.
Second, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, moving forward, next on the agenda is the engineer's report. Mr. Steve Balla.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the one item I have under my agenda is the Gunst lot line adjustment project, which Mr. Durstein reported on last night. The planning commission recommended approval. The plan is shown on the screen. The project, encompasses the entire Gunst, we'll call it the Gunst estate. But this particular project is only to transfer a small piece of property that had the old woodsheds and
Sawmill. stuff like that.
sawmill
Yep.
equipment onto the smaller tract. So it'll all be incorporated into the home on it, and then the rest of the estate would be an open tract. We did review last night. Mrs. Gunst is here, but I'll just review what we did last night. We went through the January 9th, 2025 review letter. The applicant agreed to comply with all the detail items in the letter, and the planning commission recommended approval of the waivers that were requested. And that's it. It's short and simple.
It's very simple. I know the property well.
I do as well.
I'm very comfortable with what has been done here. Any questions, concerns from you, Hal?
Nope, no questions, concerns. If I remember, the Historical Society has a deal to get the sawmill eventually, but that'll work out.
That's not for this
I know.
this table right now.
Right.
So we're moving forward on this here situation. So you need
Correct.
a motion? Or no?
Or a resolution.
Or a resolution.
It's up to you. If you'd rather just approve this by, sometimes when they're little projects.
Why don't we just?
I would like to
approve it?
move forward and approve it if we could.
Right.
So I will entertain a motion for approval of this project.
I'll make-
Subject to the conditions in the win letter dated January 9, 2025.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
I will second the motion.
Motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's all I have for my report, unless there's any questions.
I don't have any questions. I'll entertain a motion for approval of Steve's report as presented.
So moved.
I will second.
Okay. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. And then moving forward, next on the agenda is the solicitor report. Mary, how are you
Thank
tonight?
you. I don't,
Can't talk.
terrible. There's only two items under the solicitor's report this evening. The first is the approval of the SAC land development. We have a resolution. It's in your packets. The applicant wants to make some changes to the resolution, so he has granted an extension of time for us to review. So I would recommend a motion to table this matter until the next meeting, by which time I expect that Steve will be able to work things out with their engineer.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Everybody's comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna make the
Make the
motion?
motion.
Okay, motion's been made.
We'll table it. Yeah.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Stable.
And the next item on the solicitor's report is the 17 Caroline Hill Road subdivision, which you reviewed at your last meeting. We have a resolution for that. It is in your packets. The applicant has agreed to the conditions, so if you are inclined to approve that subdivision, you can make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-03.
Three.
Any comments? Concerns, questions regarding that?
Oh, actually, it says 04.
It should be 03. Is it 03 or 04?
It should be over 3.
3.
All right.
We probably had the other one.
I
C-
did have
C is 03.
03.
Right.
Yeah, pre-filled.
Let's make sure we're right before we go on.
No, we
It's
are.
03.
It's 03.
So 3 in the bottom of here too.
Okay, I will move for motion 2025-03 as stated.
Okay, motion's been made.
Second.
Second, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Curly and Hill get subdivided.
Are you finished?
I have nothing further to report.
I'll make a motion to approve the solicitor's report as presented.
Okay, motion's been made.
I will second.
Second, all those signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Great. Moving forward, next on the agenda is Mr. Manager's report. Mr. Lippincott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is a request from the township manager to start an enforcement action and get the township solicitor involved on a property on Bethlehem Pike, tax map parcel 52-9-125. The property is currently being used as a contracting business or some sort of business. They never got a permit for it, and they're putting in fill and millings and equipment.
Okay. Any questions concerning this property from either of my two board members?
Yeah, I've driven past, I've seen it.
I've seen the photographs and then I've driven past it.
I have two. So, we need to decide whether we're going to move forward on enforcement. I'm entertaining for a motion to move forward.
I will so move.
Okay, motion's been made.
Second.
Second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. You're good with that?
I'm good with that.
Okay. We did have another issue with another property. Is that being,
That's being addressed.
that's being addressed? Okay.
That is being addressed.
Thank you.
The next item is the backhoe bid results. We posted the John Deere backhoe on Municipid. It finalized at 32.5, which was under the $35,000 reserve. The board has a choice to either re-advertise it on Municipid or accept the bid at 32.5.
We can do both, right?
My recommendation would be, if the board so chooses, accept the bid at 32.5, give them 10, 14 days, and if it's not picked up and agreed upon, you relist it
Okay.
at 32.5.
And quite frankly, there's not a whole lot going on in the wintertime anyway, so people really aren't buying too much equipment, I don't think. So maybe that's why there was no more bids on it. But I agree with that, with your recommendation. David, are you?
I agree, because it's like buying a lawnmower in the spring. Things will pick up and people might be
Yes.
really get interested in picking
So
up.
you're making a motion to move forward with selling the machine at
32.5.
32.5, and if they don't pick it up, then we relist it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's it.
I will second, get the money now.
Yep, motion's
If
been
not-
made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, you got direction, Greg.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the manager's report.
So moved.
Motion's
will
been
second.
made and seconded. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, moving forward, next on the agenda is old business. Anybody have any old business?
One thing, Mr. Lippincott, would you speak? I guess there's a, North Carolina Water Authority has put out a schedule, a revised schedule based on the meeting they had of, the transmission line they want to put along the Ridge Road.
Yes, they're moving forward ahead with that. I think they're going to start in late January, or early February.
They had an informational meeting for residents that was posted. It was advertised, and they had it here last Thursday night. I was the only resident that showed up. However, they had two people were here from Grandview Hospital. The 12-inch transmission line will go from the Almont Road. They're going to bore underneath the 309 first. And then they're going to come out Almont Road, and they're going to make a left, and they're going to go down Ridge Road all the way to Tylersport. It's going to be a 12-inch main. There will be no taps put in along there. They don't have the authority to do that right now, and they wouldn't do it anyway because they explained that the possibility of leakage or something could happen. And right now, there's nobody that's projected or even inquired about hooking up to that. So that's something that will be handled in the future if it ever does get public service to anybody. There will be fire hydrants posted every so often. So there will be tax breaks for homeowners. Of course, once the fire hydrants are in place, you take a picture and contact your homeowner's insurance, and you'll probably get a reduction. They explained that you should get a reduction in your homeowner's insurance because you have a fire hydrant in front of your house. This whole project, from the time of the end of the January, they'll start, and then February, they will start digging. It won't be completed until close to September, if not September. That's their projection. I raised the concern of rock being along Ridge Road, as we all know it is in Rock Hill. However, they said a lot of the seismographic views shows that there's a lot of fill along the Ridge Road. So that being said, I'm going to read off the letter. January 23rd will be mobilization. February 3rd will be boring, as you can see there. February 17th, water main installation starts on Almont. And then March, installation continues along Ridge Road. And July, substantial completion. September will be the final restoration, which the township has acquired North Penn Water to overlay the entire Ridge Road, not just half. And we
Right.
did that through negotiation here with them before they started. So that is a real plus to the township, that the entire road will be overlaid, paved, instead of just half of it when they're done. So hopefully some issues will be addressed along the way with some areas we have with the accidents that we get along the drop off on the shoulders. And if there is any questions or concerns, there are numbers here for North Penn Water Authority that can be called. And each and every one of you can get this copy of this letter or call if you have a concern, question regarding this operation. I did have a resident reach out to me yesterday and said he didn't know nothing about this, that lives on Almont Road. And I explained to him that this was discussed several times in public meetings and it has been advertised. However, some people really don't pay attention to what's going on in the local community. But I did fill him in and he was comfortable now with what's going on. But that's your summary of the water line project for North Penn Water to go to the hospital. Yes, Mr. Can you come up here, Brian? Yep.
So Brian Lannis, Augustine Road. So when they were talking about this, do you know, are they going to close just one side like they talked about? So the whole thing? Because they were going to do it in segments.
Yep, that's
So
important. It's important to say this.
Okay.
Ridge Road will be closed, the entire Ridge Road, from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. every single day until this project is completed. So if you have plans to travel Ridge Road, of course, everybody that lives local, all local traffic can travel and they'll let you through. But for the general public of traveling Ridge Road, it will be closed from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. And there will be signs, detour signs for the truck traffic and stuff out of the quarry. And their projected route is to go out to County Line Road, down County Line Road to 152, out 152 to the bypass. That's the truck traffic going that way. Whether they go up Allentown Road, I don't know. That is a PennDOT road. For most of you that don't know, Allentown Road is a PennDOT road. So trucks could realistically go on that road.
I think the biggest concern was where the ambulances were going to go.
Well, Brian,
because-
they're also saying emergency vehicles,
They get
school
through.
buses and local
Okay,
residents
they were going to do
will have
overlay.
access.
Okay. That was it.
All emergency, normal travel like school buses and ambulances and stuff, they'll all be able to get through.
Okay.
They're just keeping the normal traffic off the road so they can work.
Right.
There will not be any held up in any kind of emergency services whatsoever.
Thanks for the clarification.
I got it.
Thank you.
I guess one question.
You may,
Want me to come up?
please, just so you can be heard on the mic.
Don White, will we have access to our park?
That's a good question.
I was gonna come up to that meeting and I couldn't make it, and that was my main question.
Yeah, I don't know that question.
I'm pretty sure we'll make sure that
We-
we'll have access.
I think you should have access to the park, but we will definitely get that answer and have it for the next meeting. Because realistically, the construction won't start in that area till after
Us
February.
old guys gotta get to the park.
All right.
All right. thank you.
Okay, you got it.
There'll be detours in effect, and I would think that they were only going to close the portion of the ridge that they're working on at that particular time.
Right,
There'll be segments as they
The
move.
road will be physically closed at the work area.
Right.
As the work area progresses, that
Sure.
physical block will move.
So if
So
they're
there'll be a point when they're working in front of the park that's gonna be a
Exactly.
problem, but otherwise you'll be able
You'll be able to get to it probably, yes, but we will make sure we clarify that for sure.
They'll usually block it off so that the detour goes along a state route. So it's probably going to be Ridge Valley or 309 down to
They have approved detour.
152 County Line.
And I am waiting on the length of, I asked how far apart the fire hydrants would be. They told me they thought normally 800 feet, but I said I wanted a clarification for sure. So that we could pass that along to the residents.
I think it's 1,000.
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet, 500,
Okay.
1,000 feet apart.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so 10 between here and Naysville.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, that covers it for the water line project.
I have no more old business.
No more old business? Okay,
Not for me.
wonderful. Thank you. Hal?
The only thing for old business is I did get a couple of questions that there had been a meeting in Salford Township regarding groundwater wells and which was hosted by the DEP and the state rep. Some people had asked about that. That is up on the YouTube page. Similarly, the planning commission information is up on the township YouTube page. And since it looks like we had a total of one guest at the
There's nobody there.
meeting, I don't think we had to record that. But if anybody has any questions, North Bend Water Authority has said that they will give out information. I think we got the PowerPoint and some other stuff if anybody is interested.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have, the next on new business is the tax collectors compensation resolution. As some of you know, this coming year will be a new term for tax collector in West Rock Hill Township, which would be the primary, start the primary for the spring. So every 4 years, we have to adopt a resolution,
Correct. You have to adopt a resolution for compensation.
what compensation might be. So I would like to ask my two fellow supervisors, I'll start with you, David, if you would like.
Sure.
On, right now, currently, the tax collector's position in West Rock Hill Township gets office space that they are out to use. They get the phones paid, they get the heat, air conditioning, all that stuff paid, and the internet service. And currently, the rate for tax bill is $7.40 that the township pays. Now, the position has not had an increase in 14 years, okay? However, the tax collector's position also gets revenue from the school district, which right now is currently at $4.25 a tax bill. And also, there is a compensation for the county, which the first 1,000 is, where's my numbers? The first 1,000.
$10.
$10, and then the remaining is $5.80. So that being said, we tonight have to adopt a resolution on what we're going to offer for West Rock Hill Township. I know that there's negotiations with the school board and the cap, and at least the school board on other compensation. So right now, we are at $7.40, and we need to decide whether we're going to move forward up, or we're going to keep the office building in the township, or where we're going to go from here. for
Okay,
the next 4 years.
I just think there's some information that should get out there for the taxpayers to be aware of. Of 31 municipalities that we checked into, 22 of those, the taxpayer actually works from home and picks up all expenses to support that activity at home. And we also have 8 municipalities where the tax collector is working from an office, and 50% of those require rent be paid by the tax collector for that office space. Our taxpayers support the rent for this office, which we provide for our tax collector, the electricity, the air conditioning, the heat, the telephone, the shredding, and the internet. And that's just some background information that everyone in this room should be aware of. And you've presented that our tax collector currently receives compensation from West Rock Hill, from Penridge, and from Bucks County. And given all that, our tax collector hasn't had a raise in 14 years, and we need to discuss if and how we're going to address that. I don't know,
We are. Mr. Shermer, would you like to give your input or some input regarding your position on this before we move any further?
Well, based on the availability of commercial rentals, and given the size, there aren't a whole bunch of places in West Rock Hill that are actually this size. There are a couple up off of Old Bethlehem Pike. There are a couple, the nearest ones that are comparable or down at the Oddfellows Hall in the middle of Sellersville. There's, for years, I had the office down in Telford, which was the old 7-Eleven. We had individual rooms for rent. When you have multiple rooms in a larger building, usually the heating and the phone and the electric are the carrying cost that's sometimes more aggravating to break out than it is to just consider that as being a cost of doing business. Given that it's been 14 years, I agree that we should be looking at an increase.
Okay.
It's a question of how much is the increase,
Right.
and we have a question.
Excuse me?
Can I make a comment?
No,
Is that not appropriate?
no, that's not appropriate.
Okay.
So, I believe that there are many residents that think that the tax collector's position is a good thing to have in the township building. I know that people do use it, and they like the convenience of it. There are a lot that do collect taxes from home, though, as Mr. Collingwood had noted. However, I believe that from my position, I think it would be warranted to stay in the position, to leave the tax collector's office here under, but we would have certain regulations and stuff regarding. Right now, currently, it's like used once a week.
They know that I'm here at least 3 times.
Okay, all right. So, regardless of that, from my point of view, I believe that
I would agree.
the office should be in the township building
I would agree.
here. Now, as far as increase goes, that's something we certainly have to agree upon. And I did some numbers here because I had looked at this whole situation pretty thoroughly. And if you gave a 3% raise to that position, you'd be looking at $7.62 of tax bill. That's what that would take that to. If you're looking at a 5% raise, it would take it to $7.77. And then, of course, a 7% raise would be $7.91. So there is, of course, you could continue to go further. I don't know from the perspective of you two gentlemen, but I believe that some raise should be given. I can tell you from my company, I got a 2% raise as of yesterday for this year, and they call that cost of living. I don't believe that. I believe the cost of living is 3 or 4%, but nevertheless, something should be done.
I would throw a percentage out there saying somewhere between 3 and 5%.
Okay. There is a number also, we could round it off to $7. 5% would be $7.77. Something close, if you wanted to go round numbers, would be $7.75, which would be just under 5%, just a hair under.
Mr. Shermer?
Hal, you have any comment regarding that?
That's what I'm just double checking on, because that's, let's see. Is that a couple? If there's been no increase for 14 years, if you go back and do 2% over 14 years, you start getting compound interest, and that comes up to about.
We're not going backwards, we're moving forward.
But if there's,
Mhm.
if nothing has changed over the last 14 years.
And we don't know what kind of increases will be coming from the school district or the county, if any.
I do not know what the school district or the county says.
But they are in negotiations, right?
Yes,
Well, we're only dealing with our portion.
Correct.
That's
Which is
correct,
X
yes.
percentage. There's X percentage of $7.40, there's X percentage of $4.25, and then you deal with the county and 10,000 for the first 1,000, $10 for the first 1,000, and $5 for the rest of them. But if you start going 1.03 to the power of 12,
Yeah.
then
Can I make a suggestion and you guys can decide? I think that we should move the tax bill rate from $7.40 to $7.75. That's going to be my recommendation. I think that works well. I think it's an increase.
Are you making that a motion? We still discussing?
Well, we're still discussing. I will make it a motion, but
That fits in with where I suggested of 3 to 5%.
okay. Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we increase.
Well, you should make a motion of the proposed resolution that's in.
We have a resolution
We
here.
have a whole
Yep.
resolution.
Can you read the number off for me?
Well, it would be
04?
2025-04.
Okay.
It'll be 04.
And what you would do is propose to change the number that's in there.
It is. Yep, I see it. I'm sorry. What's in the resolution right now is that it is listed as $7.40. So we are going to be increasing that, but we are going to be adopting the resolution that is in place. And that's resolution 2025-04. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion that we move the tax bill rate to $7.75. Am I clear on that?
And as a part of that resolution number.
It's a part of, I'm changing the number that's in the resolution now from 740 to 775. The rest of the resolution that's here is in place.
Also in the resolution, it gives the tax collector space. in the town.
Correct. The tax collector will still have space in the township building. Yes. That's very important to a lot of residents. That being said, I'm going to make that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on this further?
no, just looking through the numbers, 1.03 to the power of 14 is coming out as 1150. But that seems a little bit steeper than what should be. So I don't disagree with your numbers.
Okay. So motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain, how can you abstain? You either agree with it or you don't. You can say,
Because
you can say nay.
mathematically, it should be $11.50 if you give an increase of 3% over 14 years.
No, we're giving the increase to add on to the 740 now. We're not increasing it every single year. We're giving the raise for the 4-year term, which is the duration of the term.
I know.
Okay, so can you abstain from something like that, or you've got to say, you go
There,
to,
there is a school of thought that says unless you have a conflict of interest, you should vote.
yeah, you can say, I don't agree,
Okay.
or
No.
you say no. Okay, so the motion will carry 2-1, 2 for it, 1 against it. Okay? That being said, is there any other discussion on that matter?
I have none.
Okay. Thank you. All right, moving forward. I will see public comment is next on the agenda. If you have any public comment, you may come up here. Yes, sir. It's all right.
Art Ketterer, Augustine Road, 31.
It's all right.
Question about the boring under Almont. Do other companies have to draw permits from you while they're boring to put something in also with them? Because that affects us in the future for water and sewer on Augustine Road, which they want to put development in. So in other words, when the North Penn boring under Almont, any other company say, hey, I want to, while they're boring, I want to draw a permit so I can put something in with that at the same time. Has anybody done that? Any companies?
To my knowledge, whoever's doing the construction there is the one that draws the permit.
I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking how
Yeah,
it works.
Telford Borough Authority is going to be,
They're the ones that would be.
So do we have
responsible for
authorization to ask them that? Do they have to tell us if we ask them, or how do we?
they are doing it, and they have to get a PennDOT permit to go under.
So how do we find out if any other companies have permits while North Penn is boring, if any other companies are putting something in with
it.
them?
How you would find that out is if anybody came here to get a permit.
Yeah, okay.
Township would know.
So we're good then. Okay. That's why I wanted to know. I don't know how that works. So,
Yeah, Telford Borough Authority is too.
all right, cool. Thanks.
We will be paying attention to this project. Yes, absolutely. Okay, any other public comment?
I think Tony has something.
Tony has.
Tony?
Stop that?
They're putting water and sewer.
They're putting a sleeve for sewer, okay?
For sewer.
They're putting a sleeve in. There's no sewer line being run at this time, just a sleeve.
I know it's a comment. Oh, I'm sorry, Tony Bogner,
Where do you live, Tony?
Clymer Avenue. I forgot for a minute. I know I know it's just a comment, but I do have a question if I can. How many parcels in this township are taxed parcels? Yeah.
You feel answer?
2,205. Okay. Okay. That's all. That's all.
I
Thanks.
think they're like 75, which are owned by hospitals, churches, nonprofits, exempt.
Any other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Joanne Natale from Ridge Valley Road. I know Suzanne, but I have no knowledge of what you were talking about tonight on the tax collectors thing, but I wanted to speak up to it because I work closely with a tax collector, works with me in my office. The whole concept of them using the township building, that's a public service to our taxpayers, not the tax collector. I know the girl I work with can't get away from her office because the people expect her there. So that shouldn't even be considered in compensation. I wanted to make that point. That has nothing to do with compensating Suzanne. That's a service to the tax collectors. or taxpayers. Also 14 years without a raise, not one of us has gone that long without a raise. 5%, I think, I don't know where you're at, but I think that's decent. But that's a 4-year rate, right? You're
Yes.
talking over 4 years?
Correct.
5%? That doesn't pay the bills. And I know for a fact that all the tax collectors are suffering that lack of increase. So it's too late. You already made the motion or the resolution, but I just want to speak up on behalf of our tax collector and others,
Thank you.
that it's important we keep that all in mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don White. I guess as long as we're talking about taxes, I'd really encourage all the residents to contact their state representatives. The oil and gas industry in Pennsylvania pays no property taxes. That pipeline going through our community, they pay no taxes on it. The compressor station, they pay no taxes on it. That means they use our fire departments, they use our police department, they use our roads. People go to our schools and work for them, and they pay nothing for any of it. We really need to get our legislatures to realize that, hey, they need to contribute too. So please contact your legislatures. The only other thing I'll say is I'd really appreciate it if the township, first of all, I appreciate the money you were able to give to the fire departments this year. I didn't say it before, and I really need to say that. But I would really appreciate it if you could find some way to poll the residents on whether they support giving more money to the fire departments. I think you need to ask them that question. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would note that we do have a couple of DCED grants coming up for firefighter, for retention, and we have actually contributed towards that. And just in case anybody isn't up to speed, our state rep is Craig Stats up out of Quakertown.
Yes. All right. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to move into executive session and adjourn. Motion's been made in second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your input. And Happy New Year.
Greg, can you print out that resolution I sent?
Yes.
Followed by the unofficial